Hey yo guys, how's it going? Tally here, and today I'm going to bring you what I genuinely think is the best Pendulum deck this format. It's a really simple control build, it's a really simple deck to learn, but it's got such a high ceiling that you're able to then play with some of the biggest decks of the format and against some real competitive contenders. This deck is Zefra. Make sure, if you want to see some more Zefra content, make sure to like it, make sure to subscribe, make sure to comment your thoughts down below and watch the whole video to support the channel. Let's dive in. So Zefra is a really cool deck that essentially revolves around Zefra. Zefra is your scale that allows you to send other monsters to your face-up extra deck, almost like Electromite used to do. It'll also copy their scale. So this card is default a scale 5, which isn't awful, but everything else is either a scale 1 or a scale 7, allowing you to copy either scale 1 or scale 7, and allowing you to pendulum summon pretty much anything in the deck and complete your scales very easily. Generally you're going to be sending Zefra Niu, okay, because when you pendulum summon Zefra Niu, it's going to search a Zefra spell or trap, which by the way are amazing, and when it's destroyed it will also search a Zefra spell or trap. We have Zefra and Zefra, which are our Sartellar Knight Zefras, and essentially these will both target Zefra card and a card that your opponent controls. For Zefra, it's a face down card. For Zefra, it's a face up card, and it will destroy or attempt to destroy both of those monsters, or both of those cards, sorry. Really good in a grind game. This deck is very much a resource based deck. This isn't wombo combo, even though it can do a bit of comboing. You're very much playing a slightly grindier game with this deck. We have Ritual Tamer Beast Zefra Wendy, which is essentially allows you to pick up a card from your face-up extra deck, add it to your hand. Really nice, allows for a bigger pendulum summon. Maybe helps you close out games as well, because you've just got more resources to play with. We have Zefra, Treasure of the Yang, which allows you to target another Zefra and turn it into a tuner monster. And this is nuts, because it can turn into Synchro 6s, with your level 3s, and Synchro 9s, which by the way there's a bunch of good Synchro 9s. Finally we have Ritual Beast Tamer Zefra, which is essentially Monster Reborn, and again allows you to just kind of play through more and more interruption. It allows you to really close out games, because once you've got a couple cards in hand, you've got Zefra, you're just building up into like a big Link 4, which is in our case access code. We've got Gizmet Kaku, the Supreme Shining Sky Stag. It's part of a combo and it's pretty tasty. I'm a big fan. So that's our monsters. It's a really tight, consistent, small package, easily searchable by most of the deck. So we have Zefra Providence, which is our main search card. It allows us to search pretty much any card in the archetype, whether monster, spell or trap. Also from the graveyard it provides your cards protection. Okay, so if your Zefra card is going to be destroyed, you can just banish Zefra Providence instead. Another card we have that searches is Oracle of Zefra, and not only is it another monster searcher, but it has extra benefits depending on how you use your Zefra monsters. So for an extra deck summon, if you Synchro or Xyz, which are the only relevant ones, you get one of these effects. For Synchro, you get to place a card or a monster card from your deck on top of the deck, which is going to combo off really well with some other cards that we've got. And if it's an Xyz, you get to draw one and discard one, essentially meaning that you can stack your deck, searching any monster in your deck. If there was a more unfair card to play than Gizmet Kaku, I'd probably play it. Now, Oracle of Zefra, it's a nice card, it's a field spell, searchable by terraforming, and because we're playing terraforming, I'm also going to play a Mystic Mine, because realistically, Mystic Mine's just a total blowout card. This deck does need a bit of a real advantage against combo decks, so if they let your terraforming resolve, you go ahead, you search Mystic Mine, you drop it on them. It's either going to bait a negate or shut them out entirely if they don't really have any spell negates. And speaking about our negates, let me show you some. This isn't a negate, but this is, and this is. So let me tell you about our traps. So Zefra War is pretty nifty, because it will target a Zefra and a card on your opponent's side of the field, allowing you to pop both. Combines really well with Zefra Providence, because you don't need to destroy your own monster in that case if you have Providence in graveyard. Also it can be activated from hand if you have 2 Zefras in your scales. We have Zefra Divine Strike, which I think is better as the game goes on as you fill up your extra deck, and it's essentially a searchable counter trap Omni Negate by banishing a Zefra from your extra deck. And 9 Pillars of the Yang is also pretty mental, alright. It's a really cool combo where you summon Zefra Niu, maybe search a Providence which searches your 9 Pillars. 9 Pillars is gonna again be an Omni Negate, but it shuffles your opponent's card back into the deck, which has its uses. It also will go ahead and destroy a Zefra or a Yang Zing. Okay, in this case it's going to be your Zefra Niu. So it's going to destroy Zefra Niu. As I mentioned, Zefra Niu gets an effect when it's destroyed to search another spell or trap, allowing you to search Zefra War. Okay, so it's a really powerful engine because it allows you to just consistently have access to different pieces of negation. I would actually consider bumping this up to 2. There, I did it, I bumped it up to 2. Kinda rounds off our main Zefra package of the deck, leaving us just with hand traps to talk about. So, Psyframe Gear Gamma, we know Gamma by this point. This deck has a lot of really good spell card starters. Driver for the Gamma, we have Dimension Shifter, which by the way, pretty nutty card. It's so good against the meta right now because it's so heavily reliant on the graveyard. This deck doesn't really bother about its graveyard too much. It's not really that fussed. Yeah, it's good to have Providence in the graveyard, but I would rather sacrifice a Providence to win the game than not play Dimension Shifter because it doesn't impact this deck a huge amount. And then finally for our kind of flex spots, we're running Skullmeister. I quite like Skullmeister this format. Again, if you don't see Dimension Shifter, you want to have some way to interact with your opponent's graveyard, and Skullmeister does that. And that's our main deck. So for our extra deck we have Omega, for our Gamma we have Xiaofeng, because it essentially just allows you to, in the odd case you're playing an Earth deck, floodgate the Earth deck because it will floodgate whatever attribute is of Worm monster, so really just these two, is used to summon it. But it can also search a tuner, which of course Gamma is. So you could do a cool play where you could 9 pillars it, then go ahead, search a Gamma, and just continue playing. Okay, so it's nice, it helps interaction, but it's really just a level 9 body in case we're in a grind game. Speaking of level 9 bodies, here's Cloud Castle. It's literally just a level 9 monster reborn. Speaking of level 9s, we also have a Ravenous Crocosaur. I'm not going to pronounce that word because I can't, but again, it's a good level 9 card. It's really good for the Oracle combo because it will just essentially draw whatever you stack on top of your deck, which is going to be Kaku, which allows you to go into this dude. What's not level 9, let's put you over here, little dude, is Metaphys Horus, which is like mind control, except your opponent chooses, but it's got some real nifty synergy with this card. We also have Shen Shen because again, I think there's just some matchups where like the graveyard's so important, and if it, like, you control the graveyard, then you control the game. So Shen Shen is a kind of nifty boss monster, and it's got synergy with Dimension Shifter because if you banish some of your Zefras with Shen Shen, then you can like recover them later, allowing you to keep grinding. We're running 2 True King of all Calamities, very fun dragon. I know, it's like the most hated card of the format right now. No, I'm not sorry for playing it. I think this deck is really nifty, and True King just makes it really easy to combo and play against combo decks. Now, I mentioned this has real synergy with Metaphys Horus. Essentially, to summon Dampire Vampire Sheridan, you can use any card with a level that was controlled by your opponent. So even if Metaphys Horus takes a card that's like any level other than 6, you can still go into Sheridan, which then will allow you to detach a monster and send a monster to your opponent's graveyard. Again, playing with resources. Okay. Actually, I tell a lie. It's any card, not just monsters, which is even better. We have Constellar Ptolemy M7, which is just a really nice kind of card to recur stuff from the graveyard. It allows you to kind of put cards from anywhere back into the deck. We have Virtual World Phoenix Fan, okay, and then you can target one face-up card, one We have Virtual World Phoenix Fan, which allows you to target one card your opponent controls and then one card in each graveyard and then banish them. Okay, really nice. For our Link monsters, we have Gravity Controller, we have Lambda, we have Unicorn, and we have Access Code Talker. This is just to get your Zefra Neo out of the scale so you can Pendulum Summon it again later. I just like this as a Link too, especially since we're running Gamma. I think Unicorn's pretty much always handy, and Access Code Talker's just daddy and it pops stuff and it goes for game. That is really the deck profile. Now we do have on screen really just options for a side deck. I think Landseer's really good, I think Droll's really good in this format. Ghost Bell could be just depending on the matchup. I don't think this is mandatory. Nibiru I think is really good against rogue decks. I could even see myself cutting these and just sticking in like a Nibiru and like an extra evenly. Lightning Storm I think is kind of an evergreen card, but it's not very budget. If it's not within your budget, that's fine, just generic Spell Trap, Destruction, Harpy's Feather Duster, all that good stuff. And Evenly Matched is also pretty tasty. In fact, you know what? This is a decent side deck. I would recommend this side deck. Of course, however, Always remember, you should be tuning your side deck to your own meta. If your meta is wholly back row, like cut the Nibiru's, go ahead stick in Cosmics, vice versa. Okay, let's take it to the outro. Guys, as always, if you like the video, give it a like. If you love it, give it a share and tell everyone you know about Team Tally today. And if you have not already joined Team Tally but you've made it to the end of the video, then make sure to subscribe to join Team Tally today. As always, you have been amazing. I have been Tally. I will catch you all later. Bye.